Hey everybody, it's Big E. Welcome to Big E's YouTube channel. I want to check in with you guys. I'm actually in the middle of working on the Turd here. I don't know if you saw in the video where we had the Turd, we had a slight fuel leak. Now, to me, slight fuel leak, any fuel leak is major because you run the potential, should you have an arc or something that with any kind of fuel will ignite, you're going to have yourself a huge damage, a lot of mess, and just possibly destroy a race car for probably something that could have been fixed cheap. And that was so far the case here has been so far. I have the fuel pressure regulator off of the Turd along with the fuel rail on here. So I replaced, of course it's not, but there's a fuel line that goes in with the O-ring, so I replaced that, fired up the car, still leaks. So this here, this is where the O-ring slides into the fuel rail. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do was look in there, make sure there's no burrs and that it's clean. So I'm checking it, and what I'm going to do is, just for my own satisfaction, I take it to paper towel and I'm just gonna put a little in there and twist it to help clean out if there is dirt or anything in there. Take a look. I don't know if you can see in there. You want it nice and clean, and it isn't going to be like a polished look. It might, maybe not, but some spots are, some aren't. But you want that to look clean, and you don't want to feel any edges. Okay, so what I did find, which I don't know, I want to try putting the light on here. I don't know if this will help. This is the O-ring that I pulled off. I don't know if you can see it. There's like a white, there's a glare, but there's a white there. And there's one here. And here I can feel a rough on the O-ring. Okay, like a burr. So that tells me that O-ring somehow rubbed, was moving, something happened, but then maybe it was the fuel, I don't know, but it degraded, whatever adjective you want to be. Basically, I like to use the term took a fucking shit, and that's what was making it leak. So anyway, enough of that. So I got the new O-ring, a whole 59 cents. Again, alluding to my comment earlier, sometimes, you know, everybody thinks everything's high dollar, which I'm going to admit a lot of the time it is. It's high dollar shit when you start abusing and pushing the envelope. I mean, I'm sweating like a cotton picker in Virginia. Here's an example where a 59 cent part that, if I'm not careful, could ruin a $20,000 race car. You know, if you're being sloppy. So this goes back to some of my earlier videos of, you want to check out your car, you want to check out everything, every square inch before you hit the track, because that, even though it was a small leak, if I have a wire that decides it's going to go south and arc, and I have fuel sitting on top of the intake manifold with the fumes all stirring around in there, and I'm flying at 100-some miles an hour, and you get that stray spark flying in there, you're toast, you're done. And by the time the safety safari's there, you're thousands and thousands of dollars in damage. So check it out. Check out your vehicle. Check out everything's good. And don't think, oh, well, it'll be okay, because it won't. You're pushing the envelope. Do your best to fix it and get it as perfect as possible. So that's what this is about. So my bonehead tip number 2 of the day is, before you assemble this, never, ever, ever put an O-ring on. I don't care what it is. Never put it on dry. Use Vaseline or transmission fluid or some kind of O-ring lubricant. Okay, I don't like to use Vaseline on fuel system parts. Okay, I just don't, because although it works well, that stuff has to go somewhere. And if it goes in the injector, it might wipe it out. So what we do is we have that lubed up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little transmission fluid on my finger here, and I'm going to wipe it around where it's going to slide into the fuel rail. Make sure it's lubed, okay, because you don't want to chafe or tear up the new O-ring. So go ahead and popped right in. You hear that? Heard it snap. So now we're going to go ahead, put the bolt back in, which mounts it to the fuel rail, which also locates it. So we're going to, maybe what I'll do is, let me see if I can put the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to, of course the vacuum line's in the way, but you can see kind of what I'm doing is tightening the bolt here. So, all right then. Hang on 1 minute. I gotta go get something. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back here. As you can see, I'm trying to turn this. We have the fuel regulators mounted on. We have the fuel line back on with the safety clip. This is all tightened in. So the next step is going to be actually mounting it on the car. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can set you guys up here, if this will stay. Probably not. Whoa, we're getting seasick here. So again, we're going to take our transmission fluid. We're going to go ahead, we're going to coat the O-rings on the fuel injectors, because you don't, like I said, you don't want them to be in dry because you'll tear them up. So now that we did that, we can now position our fuel rail, get that in place. Okay, so now what we want to do is line up all your fuel injectors with the holes, so that way this thing can hopefully drop into place. Okay, so you hear that snap, that's in there. Don't forget to put the vacuum line on. And we'll do the same thing over here. That went down, that, okay, so now they're seated in there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we'll put our hold down bolts on. Now these you don't want to over tighten because you're going into aluminum, okay, and it's real easy to strip out these threads. So what I like to do is just kind of hand tighten, and I can move the fuel rail around a little bit if I need to get those threads to engage. You can see I'm kind of shaking a little bit because I'm trying to get the bolt to start in there to kind of move stuff around. Once you have everything started, then you can tighten it down the rest of the way. But if you tighten it one tight and it's off a little bit, you're going to have a hell of a time getting the other three in. So, and this one's giving me a hard time because I'm in the wrong hole. There, now that should work better. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't have the luxury of time-lapse, people, so you're just going to have to bear with me until I get this tight. Also, if you have an LT1 car you're working on, such as myself, and you want to do anything with your fuel regulator and you're wondering about the fuel lines, get yourself this, okay? It's a fuel line and AC spring lock disconnect tool set. That's what it kind of looks like. That's what you're going to use. It slips around your fuel line, and you push it against, and you push down on the hose, and it'll pop loose. Okay, so you want to invest in something like that if you're going to be working on one of these cars. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. And that's the other problem with these cars, with the engine sitting back so far. It's a real booger getting on. Again, like I said, don't bull tighten these things. They're only small, and you're going into an aluminum intake. Okay, so got that. The reason I know, I'll show you once I get this one tight. Okay, let me show you. Look on the top here. You see this one as opposed to this one? This one I stripped out. I had to re-drill and tap it. Okay, so it's a different size. So that's how I know it's a booger. Now I gotta try and figure out how to get you guys stable here. What's sitting? So we're gonna go ahead and tighten that up. Okay, like I said, we don't want to bolt tighten it. Alright, so put some of my paraphernalia away first. Now the next thing to do is the fuel lines, and they're going to be over here. So putting the fuel lines on is not that bad of a deal. We're going to go ahead and clip those on. Make sure you hear them clip. There's that, there's that. Now the next thing left to do is the fuel injector harness. Make sure those clip and that you can't pull them off, okay? Because you don't want them to come off during a run. That'll screw up, or even when you're driving. I mean, I don't know why I'm always referring to drag racing, because I guess that's what I use this car for. But if you have a one that you drive on the street, you don't want them coming off when you're at a stoplight, and now all of a sudden you have a miss you got to go figure out. So we almost have this all ready to check out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, if you guys don't mind, I'm just trying to find a spot to hook you guys up. I'm gonna go turn the battery on. I'll be right back. We're gonna see if this thing leaks. Alright, battery power on. So now we're going to hit the key. I can hear it. Okay. Alright, so that's that. Let me check. Also, when you're checking that, check your injectors, that you don't have fuel pouring out of an injector, which we look pretty good. Now, the only problem is I was rushing here a little bit. Luckily, I caught myself. There's still some fuel from when I took it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and check all that out. And I know there's some on the other side, so bear with me, guys. Hopefully this fixes the problem. Okay, now I'm gonna back you guys up a little bit if you don't mind. So we're gonna try and give the old girl a fire up, see if she leaks. Okay. So spray this in. Now I have my flashlight here that I can use when she's running. We'll set that so it's accessible. Now we'll get her idling. We'll see if our leak went away. Looks like we might have had some success there. Looks like our pesky little potential problem leak went away. So, I forget what I was supposed to show you guys in this video. Oh, about the O-rings. So, if you have a fuel leak or something, or anything, any kind of fluid leak that has O-rings, check your O-rings. You saw in the one that we pulled out of the fuel rail there for fuel pressure regular had those 3 white marks and a burr. So obviously it leaked there. So basically a 59-cent part. Hopefully it'll keep me from turning this thing into a fireball. We still have a couple things to do. We're still planning we're still going to try and get out this year for a track day. I don't know when. Perfectly honest with you, I was freaking throwing up all weekend, so this is the first time I've been out here in probably 3 days I've been outside. So still not quite feeling well, but I knew I had to start getting this stuff done so I can get some videos and some stuff done for you guys. So I don't even have a title for this video. It's great. Anyway, it's going to be, I don't know, why not to have a race car? I don't freaking know. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope if anything it's at least entertaining. Probably tired of hearing me babble. Whatever, I'm sure it's the freaking antacids I'm on probably screwing me up. But anyway, like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos for some more nonsense. And there's going to be more nonsense to come. Like I said, we have a track day coming. I just have to pick a date. So, like, subscribe, yada yada yada. Drop a comment. That's all I got. I'm really out of it. Watch out for each other. Take care of each other. We'll see you frickin' next time on Big E's. Take care.